we'll just.
Welcome to the Weasel. Welcome to the Weasel. Whip out your dicks and shove them in your ass. Welcome to the Weasel with Mican and Jonah.
Okay, telling a story. Hello, friends. Good day to you all. So nice to see you and hear from you. Um, this week's episode is a little different because on Sunday, uh, Jonah hurt his neck, so we did not record that day. My Sunday, his Saturday. Sorry. So he hurt himself, which is unfortunate. So very unfortunate. Um, so I'm going to do this. That is to say, I'm going to tell you a story. Okay? It's more of a joke, perhaps, although it is quite a long joke. And, it's. I think it's funny, and I think I think a lot of my friends have heard this joke at one time or another. I've tried to tell it. It changes every time because that's just the kind of story it is. I heard this originally from a very good friend of mine, Scott Lamb. Scott, you're a funny dude, and this is probably the only like truly complex joke of yours that I could remember ever. And I hope you don't hate how I've butchered it. Some things to note. So, I've moved away from the desk a little bit because I may have to get up. I'm not sure yet. So, my camera might be a little bit blurry at times. I'm not sure if it focuses by itself very well. Um, so just, you know, there's that. And also, I have my microphone in my hand in case I need to get up. Um, yeah. So, man, I'm out of breath. I need to stop moving around. So yeah, that is the plan. I'm gonna tell you this story. Housekeeping. Don't really have any of that. That was it. That was the housekeeping, I guess. Okay. The story. It's called. Well, I kind of almost don't even want to tell you what it's called. To be honest with you, I think I might just tell it to you, and then I'll let you guys decide what you think. I guess. Yeah. Let me know what you think the title of this story should be. But anyway, I'll just okay. So allow me to tell you a story. All right, about Bill. Bill was a nice guy. He was your average salesman, man. You know what I mean? Like he had a good job. He sold things over the phone. I don't know what he sold. Doesn't really matter, but he was a popular dude. Did a pretty good thing did pretty good work at his job, and had a few friends there, are better than acquaintances, I guess. I don't know. I've never worked in a cubicle space, so I can't really relate to it that much. But as far as I know from Bill, he, it wasn't bad. It was nice. Whatever. Good job, good pay. That's the big thing, right? That's what we all want is good pay, right? So, anyway, he had good paying job, right? He had a lovely wife. Okay, he had an absolutely lovely wife. Um, you might have noticed a tempo change. I'm gonna slow down because I think I'm gonna pass out. All right. Um, Jesus Christ. Maybe this is a mistake. Maybe a story might be too much for me, guys. I don't know. I'm just kidding. We can do this. Okay. So he had a lovely wife, unnamed. Okay. Lovely wife. Bill was probably maybe like, I don't know, 6.5 out of 10, 7 maybe out of 10. I mean, his wife was a bombshell, right? Unnamed wife was a bombshell. Easily an 11 out of 10. He was punching up because Bill's personality, top notch, he was a cool dude, very level headed, you know. Him and his wife had a very, very, very healthy sexual relationship. Okay, they were very inventive and enjoyed trying new things, and wife was a little bit of a freak. You know what I mean? So like healthy, right? And as a result, they had a couple of kids, also unnamed. All right, but they had like a daughter and a son, 5 and 6 respectively. Okay, had them close, and they're like, maybe two's enough, but it makes sense. A couple of lovely kids doing really well in school. They're just making drawings and doing maths, basic maths, just smashing it out of the park. You know what I mean? Just like loving, happy family, beautiful family. Okay. But then one day, uh, a boil formed. Right, a boil formed on Bill's ass. Okay, and it wasn't huge, mind you. It wasn't a giant boil. It was just in a really uncomfortable spot. You know what I mean? It made it difficult to sit down. Made it difficult to sit down on the toilet seat, which is like kind of like important, to have a healthy shit. So that was difficult for him. He found it difficult to shit. It also made just the action of shitting itself difficult because of where it was. It was just like in a really bad spot. Fellas, you guys know this spot. We all have it. Ugh, it's horrible. Anyways, and women too, I'm sure, actually, come to think of it. We all shit, so shitting is not gender dependent. I don't know. Anyway, my point is, made it difficult to shit. And not too bad at first, though. It was just, it was just like, man, it hurts, right, to sit down. So you can force it out after a couple of days of build up, let it back up a little bit. And, he's like, fucking, shit, I need to start putting some creams on. So he starts putting on some creams, and it's making it really uncomfortable at work as well, because not only is now his ass just sore all the time, but his stomach hurts. His stomach hurts a little bit. And so he's not selling as much, right? His sales are going down a little bit because he's, just frustrated, He just gets frustrated. I mean, it makes sense, you would be frustrated if people kept asking, you just kept hearing the same series of questions and having to say the same series. Say that with me 10 times. Say the same series of questions throughout the day, and saying the same series of things throughout the day. Oh, I had to say it again. And then just, it'd be nauseating, right? When you have to shit already, and then you're just inundating yourself with more shit of like, you just recognize it. It's hard to brush off the little things when you have to take a shit that bad. It just is, okay? So, he's using the creams, and it's almost like these creams are just feeding this thing, because the boil then continues to grow bigger, right? Gets a little bit bigger. It's making it hard to lay down. Bill's having a hard time laying down now. Even if he lays on his sides, it hurts, right? Because there's some kind of pressure on this boil, which is actually just putting pressure on itself by its own growth, right? Which seems to be pulsating every time he puts more of these creams on, okay? Like it's just sucking it. It's a massive, gnarly boil. All right, it's probably, well, not massive. It's probably about the size of a silver dollar, okay? It's big. It's a little bit big, but it's not massive, okay? So, okay. So as the boil gets a little bit bigger, it's probably about the size of a silver dollar. It's getting a little bit big, okay? The sex life starts to slow down just a little bit, right? Starts to slow down because he can't lay down. It makes him uncomfortable. Also, he still has to shit now. Now it's been 4 days since he's last took a good shit, and he's just starting to get really frustrated, really irritated. Him and his wife are arguing, so she's just not in the mood to have sex with him, and it's just like that kind of like negativity spreading to the kids. And then one night, his 5-year-old daughter brings him a painting that she did, and she's like, "Oh, Daddy, look at this painting," and he's just like, "Oh yeah, let me see it," and he just gives like a little bit of a too honest critique. He's like, "Oh, these lines don't connect," and the shading is shit. Your shading is shit. No, I don't think he says that. because that's pretty out of character. But I mean, like, he is too honest. All right, we'll just say his assessment is unnecessarily honest for a 5-year-old. But as a result of this, his daughter just breaks down and crying, tears of just sadness just welling out, maybe an act, I don't know. Sounds pretty brutal to me, if you ask me, which you guys did not. Anyways, so yeah, daughter runs screaming out of the fucking kitchen, and he's just sitting there in the dining room. She goes off into her room and skedaddles off, and gets out, and then his wife is just like, "What are you doing? What is wrong with you? Like, what's going on?" And he's like, I just haven't shit. I've been taking laxatives, and I've been using these creams, and this fucking boil in my ass is just too fucking big. She's just like, maybe try something else. Is there anything else you can do? So he looks into it, and they've got these hemorrhoid bands that you can get, and what you do is you put it around the hemorrhoid, right, and it chokes it out, and it just falls off. Right? Like, well, maybe we'll do that with the fucking boil, So they go and they actually can't even use one of those hemorrhoid ones because the thing has to be, the band has to be bigger. So they actually have to get one of those lamb testicle band stretcher things and using those, right? So they're like she's helping him, 'cause she's a fucking awesome wife. She's helping him out, and putting these fucking bands on his boil, so they stretch it, they leave it for a day, and the boil absorbs the band and gets just a little bit bigger, like just a little bit bigger. Sorry, I'm looking at myself. I'm not looking at you guys. The band just gets a little bit bigger, right? And they're like, what the fuck? So, the wife helps him out again. They put another band on, they put it on, wait another couple of days. He has not shit, all right? He has not shit, right? Now for 5-6 days now at this point, because they put a second band on, right? Wait a day. It absorbs another one and gets a little bit bigger, right? Like, it's fucking gross, okay? And you might be asking yourself up to this point, why hasn't he gone to a doctor? Well, this man is a stubborn fool, if I'm being completely honest with you. Bill is a stubborn dude who just won't quit. You know what? He's self-made. He's built his way up to where he is now. Nobody tells him what to do. That's just the way Bill is, okay? Got a lot, people are like Bill. People are kind of like Bill. I'm kind of like Bill in some ways. I'm stubborn, up to my own detriment, I think we all do it in some respect. Just the way it is. Anywho, Bill has not gone to a doctor yet. And this is like the third rubber band session, okay? His wife's like, all right, listen, we'll try the bands one more time if you really don't want to go to a doctor. He's like, nah, do the bands. So she gets down there, he's down, and like, she's putting the band, or like, it's going to be a double bander, this one, because they got to use 2 bands, right? Because, one band twice didn't work, maybe 2 bands once, give it a go, right? Puts those double bands on, that thing is just squeezing, nothing happens. So like, all right, well, fucking we'll leave it for a day, cream that shit up. His ass, the rest of his ass, fucking smooth as a baby's buttocks, man. He had fucking narwhal slick skin, just soft, supple, beautiful skin, except for this fucking boil, right? Next day or two, still hasn't shit, right? The boil absorbs both those rubber bands and gets even bigger. By now, the boil's about the size of a softball, okay? No, volleyball, sorry. It's about the size of a volleyball, right? I skipped a little bit because I think I forgot the softball. Anyway, that doesn't matter. It's about the size of a volleyball now. It is a fucking big ass boil, okay? Big ass boil. Now, at this point, you're wondering, surely he's going to get a hold of a doctor, right? And you would think so. And of course he does, but not just by himself, of course. Now, he was at work, and, he, for a while, thought to himself, hey, can't sit down. I'll use a standing desk, right? And so now he's been standing for like the last week, just trying to fucking not sit on this boil that continues to absorb rubber bands and get bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? But, you know, his sales have just plummeted. Fucking people are whispering, like, oh, man, have you heard of, oh, yeah, fucking Boil Bill, you know? Whispers of the new nickname, Boil Bill, echoing around the office space, you know? I'm trying to make office spaces scary. Ooh, office spaces are scary. There's nicknames and stuff. It's terrifying shit. Ugh, actually, it is creepy. Anyways, so. Oh, man, fucking lost my spot. Okay. So he's at the office. He's in the break room, okay? He's in the break room and he's making some fucking tea, all right? And he's just, he's got a fucking shit so bad. He's been pounding coffee all day. Just needs something a little bit not coffee-esque. You know, he's making himself a cup of tea. And he drops the tea bags in front of, like, just off the counter, right? So he bends over. He's just like, oh, man, the pressure's just building up. He bends down. He's like, oh my God, oh, fucking just, and then in comes one of the senior aides, right? In comes one of the senior aides of the office, and he's like, oh, hey, what's going on, Boil Bill? And all the frustration of him just being bent over and not having shit yet just all came to a head, and he's just like, oh, you motherfucker. And he started fucking lighting into him, just fucking, you piece of motherfucking, how fucking, you mother, shit, you fucking, fuck, shit, yeah, fucking just incoherent, babbling, angry, fucking cursing, just fucking so, I mean, granted, right, like, that's a pretty fucked up nickname, Boil Bill, like, come on, are we like 8 years old? No. Well, I mean, some people are at this age. It's beside the point, doesn't matter. Anyways, so yeah, he gets called into HR, obviously, and they're like, and actually they did him a service, really. They were like, hey, listen, you know, we get that you've got this problem. Obviously, we noticed that your sales have dropped recently, and explains it to him, and they're like, well, what is actually going on? He's like, well, I've got a giant boil, and he's upset, right? I've got a giant boil on my ass, and I haven't shit in over a week. And they're just like, all right, dude, listen, we're standing you down. We're going to send you on medical leave. It's all good. Just go home, sort this shit out. All right? Just sort this shit out, and then come back. Give us a ring when you're done. You can come back, and everything will be back to normal. All right? Go on medical leave for a while. Just get out of here. And he's just like, oh, fucking taking it super personal. Like, oh, hey, fucking stand me down. They're like, dude, just go home. Get out of here. And he's walking out, fucking just sad and pitiful, and just, oh my God, hasn't shit, still just so frustrated he hasn't shit, and just, and he hears it echoing off of the halls as he leaves. Oh, did you hear about Boil Bill? Oh yeah, I heard he's got a boil and his name's Bill. Shit like that. Just things that are just ridiculous, right? Whatever. Okay, he goes home. His wife got off early because she heard what happened. Kids are still gone. She's like, hey, kids are still at school. Do you want to try doing a little bit of little, sexy times, whatever? And he's like, oh, I just really don't. I'm just really tired and just want to lay. I just want to sleep, but I can't do anything. I can't even lay down. She's like, listen, that's okay. That's okay. There's only one position where you don't have. Pressure on your boil, really. And he's like, yeah, but like obviously there's still a boil there, so there's nothing I can do, And she's like, nah, just trust me. And so he's like, all right, whatever. All right, this is kids. You might want to skip forward a couple of minutes, just because it's a little bit weird. All right, so she goes away. All right, she goes. Oh, I'm scratching a bug, but I need to stop. She goes away, and he's like, all right. So he gets undressed, and he goes, and he does. He kneels down on the fucking on the bed, right? You know, face down. He's like, it kind of is relaxing. You know, it's taking a bit of the pressure off his back and his legs, and the boil does feel fucking huge because it's the size of a fucking volleyball, right? But it does feel a little bit nice. And then she comes out of the bathroom, and he sees her in the mirror as she comes out. She comes out wearing these leather straps, right? Just the straps, maybe a few clasps, but that's it. Just leather straps and clasps, okay? Leather straps and clasps. And she's got one of those little horse whips, you know, with the little leather loop at the end, you know, like some BDSM stuff, which is, you know, normal for this couple, right? They're very, like interested in shit and, like, trying new things, whatever. And he's like, I don't know. This seems like a little bit much for me, but if it'll make her happy, it makes her happy, you know, whatever. I'll give it a go. And she comes in and she's like, all right, young man, are you ready for your boil play? And he just fucking he stands up in pain. He's just like, oh, fucking, no, I'm not doing none of this boil shit. I'm so fucking tired of this boil. And she's like, what? I'm just trying to fucking make you feel better about it. And she's like, and he's like, no, I'm tired of this. I got to sit down from work. And she's like, oh, no, you know, you didn't even tell me. And he's like, I wondered why you were home early from work. And she's like, I just want to make you happy. And, you know, fucking angry. And you'd think, like, maybe, like, all the getting this emotion out would fucking be really healthy, right? But it wasn't. And she's like, fuck you, dude. You haven't even gone to the doctor yet. I'm fucking tired of this shit. It's disgusting. You know what? Let's be honest. You're fucking disgusting. You've got a giant boil on your ass and you haven't shit in over a week now. Fuck you. Fucking, I'm taking the kids. I'm picking them up from school. We're going to my mom's house. You fucking sort your shit out and fucking call me when you're done, and I'll be fucking out. I'll be fucking over there, and then we'll come back whenever you're fucking sorted out. How's that sound, Buster? I mean, what can you say to that? I mean, it's still a pretty good deal, right? She's not just fucking off, you know? I mean, it could be a lot worse. And to be fair, like, that is a pretty logical thing. Like, why haven't you gone to the fucking doctor, huh? Well, now he will. Let me just resituate myself. Okay. He pulls out the yellow books. Or the yellow pages book. Starts going through the entirety of the thing, just looking for all the doctors and, you know, all this stuff. And doctors and surgeons and nurses and all these different things, right? And he's frustrated, he's angry, he's mad, he's just fucking filled with tension and just a lot of, like, raw emotions. Just, you know, I mean, think about it. Like, his job's stood him down. It's not a horrible thing. I think we all like some fucking paid time off, you know. That's always good. But still, it's like, you know, you're now at risk of losing your job because of this fucking problem. Your wife and your kids, your family support can't handle you anymore. You're making them cry, you're making them angry. Fucking they're taking off, you know. It's time to sort your shit out is what life is trying to say. It's time to get your shit together and fucking sort it out, right? But he's still working through that. And he's not looking through that lens as a logical thinking man, right? He's angry. He's fucking mad. He feels belittled and fucking just like I don't know, fucking wimpy and just, oh, you know, like, oh, what a pussy. Oh, you know? So he pulls up the yellow pages, starts fucking calling. First one. Like, hello, how can I help you? I was like, he's like, I would like to talk to a doctor, please. And she's like, why is that? And he's like, well, I've got I've got a fucking boil on my goddamn ass, and I haven't been able to shit in over a week, and it's fucking pissing me off. She's like, sir, you need to not talk to me like that. He's like, no, I'm fucking tired of this shit. It's fucking driving me nuts. And she hangs up on him. Click. Like, fuck, I gotta call another one, man. Damn, dude, damn. All right, calls another one. Calls up. Hi, can I help you? And he's like, yes, I would like to speak to a doctor, please. She's like, well, please explain why. And he says, well, I've got this giant boil on my ass, and I haven't been able to shit in, over a week, and it's fucking pissing me off. Nobody's taking me seriously, and, and she's just like, all right, sir, I need you to describe what's going on. And he's like, well, I've got a boil. She's like, how big? He's like, well, it's about the size of a volleyball. She's like, sir, we don't like prank calls here. Click. Hangs up on him. Fuck, dude. Serious? Hangs up on him again, man. That's fucked, dude. It is fucked. Right? Calls the next one. He's like, no, fucking, his attitude's starting to change, though. Calls the next one up. She's like, hey, how can I help you? And he's like, excuse me, this isn't a prank. I have a giant boil on my ass, and it's the size of a volleyball, and click. Hangs up on him. I mean, by now, all the nurses have started telling each other about these jokes. They've spread it to their nurse friends. Calls another one. Hi, excuse me, I need to talk to a doctor, please. And they're like, oh, what is it? And he's like, well, I'm just at my wit's end. I'm being driven nuts. I haven't shit in over a week. And she's like, oh, why is that? And he's like, well, I've got this giant boil. And she's like, how big? And he's like, well, it's almost the size of a volleyball. And she's like, is this a joke? And he's like, no, it's not a joke. She's like, that's so disgusting. I can't even imagine touching that. Goodbye, sir. Click. Hangs up. He begins more and more pitiful every single time. Please, I need help. Click. My life is going to be ruined. My family's left me. My job has stood me down. They're going to fire me. Click. Size of the volleyball. Click. It's a fucking dire situation. In frustration, he takes the Yellow Pages book and fucking slings it across the room. Just fucking, just fucking, pow. Hits a lamp, smash, crash, pow, causes a big ruckus. And he's like, fuck, man, now I got to clean this shit up. So he fucking gets up. He was kind of like half kneeling on a chair, and he like fucking stands up, and he's like, oh, fucking, I feel like shit. And he walks over and fucking, he's bending down, and he's looking, and for some reason, all the glass shards seem to be pointing at one word, one little box advert in the corner of the bottom of the Yellow Pages in the P's section. Right. Pus suckers. Had a telephone number and an address. 15 Bourbon Street. Okay. Now, he looks at that and he's like, I don't know, this seems really fucking weird. It's a weird advert, right? Pus suckers. Okay. It's fucking odd. But Bourbon Street in the city is not a bad place. It's pretty safe. It's got some, credible businesses there, I guess you could say. Whatever the fuck that means. He's got some credible businesses. So it's not a bad place. I mean, whatever. So he calls the number, right? Calls the number. Ring. 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 Be-doo. This number does not have a voicemail box. Da-da-da-da-da. Goodbye. Automatic, hangs up. He's like, fuck. Oh, all right. He's going to call again. He calls one more time. Ring, 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 ring. This one just keeps going on. Ring, 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 ring. He's like, fucking, this is getting fucking ridiculous. Ring, ring. Just he's about to hang up. Click. Hello? Spoke a voice on the other side of the phone. Hello, is this Pus Suckers?
Yes, it is.
Spoke the voice. And he's like, I have a problem, and I think I need your help. you know, is there some way you could help me? And she's like,
Please explain.
and he's like, okay, so I've got this giant boil on my ass, and it's the size of a volleyball, and you know, I haven't been able to shit, and it's ruining my life. And he waited. He just waited for a little bit. Silence on the other end, just absolute silence. Like, oh, fuck, just don't let me hear that click. You know, I'm just gonna go fucking jump off a fucking bridge if I hear that click. I just can't even handle this shit anymore.
Come on down to the office at the address underneath the number.
Click. Hung up on him. And he's just like, what the fuck? That's fucking bizarre, crazy stuff. You know, scary, just scary. You know, like chills, like the goose hairs on the back of his neck have stood up, and he's just crazy, right? He's like, well, this is my only chance. This is I've got to do something, and you know, I can't let this ruin my life. Either I sort this out or I end my life. You know, I'm whatever. It's worth a shot. So he calls a cab because he can't drive. Obviously, the pain is too, it's just too much. The pain is just too much for somebody to drive. They don't make boil-shaped seats, unfortunately. Maybe that's something to invest in or invent in. I don't know. Let's get the Weasel production crew onto that. Thank you, guys. So yeah, calls a taxi. All right, calls a taxi, and the taxi's like, hey, where do you want to go? So he's like, oh, 15 Bourbon Street. Taxi driver kind of gives him a weird look. He's like, all right, you know. And so he jumps in. He's got to like lay across the back seat with his butt hanging off the front of the seat, you know, to just take pressure off of the, the fucking boil on his ass. And also like off of his stomach as well, because he's just got a shit so bad. It's just been like over a week now, maybe like a week and a half. It's not good, right? And so the driver's like, oh, all right, okay, here you go, you know. What is it you're doing here? And he's like, oh, I've got a giant boil in my ass. And the guy's like, I don't want to hear any more about it. That's disgusting. Please get out of my cab. Okay. And the guy's like, Bill's like, oh, fuck, okay. You know, he gets out of the cab, climbs out. And before he can even pull the money out, he's like looking at the alleyway, or he's looking at the alleyway before him. There's an alleyway before him. Fuck that up, didn't I? There is an alleyway. As he glances up, the alleyway is before him. And then he sees numbers on the buildings to either side. And it's got 13 and it's got 17. Yeah. 13 and 17. And as he turns around to go pay the cabbie and ask him what the fuck, you know, the cabbie just fucking takes off. He's like, I don't want anything to do with this fucking boil nerd, you know, nerd with a boil on his ass. I mean, by this point, it's getting ridiculous. It's almost comical how people are treating this guy. But, you know, very well. He's got a fucking giant boil on his ass. And all he does is whinge about it. He has to go to the doctor. This is what happens. All right. This is just to say, guys, if you got something that you need to get checked or you should be getting checked, just go do it. Go get it checked, okay? Anyway, he looks down this alleyway and he sees a lot of dumpsters. You know, he sees a fucking homeless man laying there next to one of the dumpsters under some cardboard. It looks like his whose shoelaces are being chewed on by a rat. And he's like, I don't think this is it. I think I'm just going to go jump off the bridge. He thinks to himself, bridge, looking pretty good. Bridge is looking good. And so he, as he's turning away to walk, he just starts walking down the street. And the homeless dude starts laughing maniacally. Just fucking cracking up at his own whatever in his brain. And then startles Bill. Oh, Jesus Christ, you know, like, whoa. And the homeless man starts screaming, there's a door! A door! Did you know about the door? Oh! He starts freaking out, you know, like, whoa. And fucking, like, kind of like just sitting there laughing. And just doesn't stop laughing. And Bill's like, what the fuck, dude? That's fucking bizarre. But then at the end of the alleyway, there was a shape of a door. And he's like, what's behind the door? And the homeless man just kind of stops laughing and looks at him. He's like, I don't know. What are you looking for? And Bill just kind of like, this fucking philosophizing fucking homeless dude. And he's like, I've got a boil on my ass. And the homeless man just looks at him just like, ugh. It's just kind of like, I can't even, like fucking, that's disgusting, dude. I don't know. So Bill turns and he's like, all right, whatever. He's like, if this isn't the right door, I'm just going to go jump off the bridge, whatever. Homeless man just starts kind of cackling to himself and goes back to sleep and takes some swigs of rum and goes back to sleep. Okay. So Bill goes down the alleyway. Dumpsters and rubbish and pizza boxes and just, needles and stuff, whatever. It's generally disgusting, like, alleyway for such a nice street, But indeed, at the end, there was a door of a giant stone archway in this concrete wall with a big old sea-worn wooden door. Huge brass knocker that's all corroded from the ocean air that, I don't even know if Bourbon Street's near an ocean. All right, I'm not sure where Bill lives, but fucking very corroded is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so this door has just this corroded brass knocker and this fucking even more corroded 1 and a 5 on the door. 15 Bourbon Street. He's like, oh man, this is fucking creepy. But the door has the number on it, so the bridge is still a go if it doesn't work out. Boosh, boosh, boosh. The sound of the door echoes down the alleyway. He hears it ringing off of the dumpsters, and he turns, and he notices that the homeless man is gone. Skedaddled, fiddled off someplace. He thinks to himself, man, it's gotten really quiet. And he looks up, there's no birds making any noise. There's no rats gnawing on anything. There's nothing. It is just alleyway. No traffic even going by. Bizarre. And he starts to get those little goose hairs on the back of his neck again. And he turns back around, and the door's just, sitting there. Nothing. Nobody's answered. Nobody's said anything. Nobody's done anything. Whatever. Doosh, doosh, doosh. He knocks 3 more times. This time it doesn't echo off of anything. The dumpsters are silent. The street bustle has completely gone. And all he can hear is the sound of his heartbeat. Boop, 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 boop. He's got a heart murmur or something. I don't know. What's a heartbeat? What's a really fast one? I don't know. So he's like, fuck this shit. I'm so fucking scared. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm gonna go jump off the bridge. And he's like trying to like struggle to turn around. Like, oh, I'm fucking so sore. Just like, oh, The door swings open. He turns around. And as he's turning around, he hears a voice.
Hello?
The voice cuts him to the core, slithers down his spine, makes him just revolt. And as he turns around, he sees this old crone. Alright? An old crone wearing, hunched over, bent over like this, and has a old wooden, sea-worn wooden stick with mold and moss all over it, and wearing a all red robe, but he could tell that it wasn't red. It used to be white, and there's just red liquid all over it, kind of like a spooky tie-dye, okay? She's wearing these old sneakers, and she's got a little cap on her head with gray stray hairs dangling down, and a wrinkly face, a long crooked nose with a couple of warts. Just your very stereotypical, scary as fuck looking crone. But her eyes were young and vibrant and predatory and scary, just staring into Bill, just like fucking digging into his very soul as his eyes met hers, right? He's like, oh, yes, I called earlier. She's like,
Yes, follow me.
and so she goes back inside the door, and he stops. And Bill waits. He's like, fucking shit, I don't fucking know. She's like,
You only get one chance.
he's like, fuck. So he goes in the door. He steps inside, and as he steps inside, boosh! The door slams behind him. He notices now that it's not completely pitch black, but a stairway descends down with little candles lighting the way intermittently. And he can hear her walking. Tick, skrrr, tick, skrrr, tick, skrrr. As she walks with her little walking stick, and she drags one foot across the ground, ominously. They make their way down a hallway at the bottom of the stairs. Tick, skrrr, tick, skrrr. She's ticking and scraping all the way. He doesn't say anything, just scared. The cold draft as it blows through a tunnel, wind hitting his spine, sends chills down it, vibrating all the way to his bowels. True fear. This is a man who was, if I might just interlude real quick to really make it hard to digest this story or enjoy it. Psychologically, this dude was ready to die, right? He is just, but this is scary. This isn't death. This is fear. This is like just, visceral fear, okay? And she's just going along, tick, scrape, tick, scrape, tick, scrape. Fucking underneath some of the candles, you see some of those old metal bins, the corrugated tin bins, rusted out. What looks like blood and guts coming out of the tops. Rats climbing in and out, eating an intestine, and one dragging a stomach off into the darkness. Tick, scrape, tick, scrape, tick, scrape. She pulls further away. He realizes he's got to keep up, so he starts kind of like, he's hobbling himself. He's like, this fucking boil is just like fucking rocking back, just walking back and forth. They come towards the end of the hallway, and it's still so dark, but he sees this tiny little bit of light, like a reflection of the candlelight behind him. And she tick, scrape, tick, scrape, tick, scrape, off into the darkness. And he's left there standing in what remains of the glow from the candlelight behind him. And all of a sudden he hears a little click, and this naked light bulb turns on in the middle of this circular room. And in the center of it, directly underneath this light, is this beautiful, clean, stainless steel, polished, shined, most beautiful table you've ever seen. An operating table, obviously. Beautiful stainless steel table. The only clean thing for in the rest of the room, around the walls of the circular room, were rusty instruments, saws, saw blades, blades that had saws for blades, fucking knives, which are considered blades, scalpels, which I guess are really small blades, drills and syringes littered everything, and everything was covered in this thick layer of shop dust and blood and dried mucus, and little jars of pus and guts were all over the shelves, and they were just covered in general filth as well. And he's just, oh my god, shaking. He's so fucking scared. It's like a terrifying thing. She looks at him. She's like,
Take off your pants and lean on the table.
he's just like, fucking, what the fuck? And he's just uncontrollably shaking, and he's just, all right. So he starts taking off his pants, and out of the corner of his eye, he sees her just observing him, watching his every move. taking in every movement that he makes, watching his bowels, watching his back, looking at his flesh. Creepy, right? He finally gets his pants around his ankles, and he almost trips as he walks forward, and his underwear falls down soon after, and he goes and he leans up on the table, and then he watches out of the corner of his eye as she walks around the room to the other side. And he looks down and he sees the cold stainless steel in her hands, and he feels the temperature just reduce and slide up his arm, through his elbow, into his shoulder and his back, straight down to his feet. Just his whole body just shivering from the cold, scared and vulnerable because he doesn't have any pants on. Left his shoes on, smart man. But yeah, just, very vulnerable situation he's in. And he looks up, and he sees that she's digging into a cabinet, a long cabinet along the top of her bench top. And she pulls out this 2-foot-long syringe. Massive, long syringe. A little bit of rust, a little bit of dried blood on it. Just the most disgusting syringe you've ever seen. And she hobbles over, tick, scrape, tick, scrape, tick, scrape. She goes past him, comes back around to the other side, and he looks down, and he's just scared. He's got his eyes closed, and he looks up, and in the table he can see a perfect reflection of her as she's got this 2-foot-long syringe, and she's just lining it up to get ready to plunge it into this giant boil on his ass. Just lining it up like a fish in a tide pool, getting ready to fucking just plunge it in, right? And as she gets ready, she's just about to go, and she starts coming down. The fear, the absolute fear, and the shaking, and the violence, and the visceral fear of life and death and everything that has been culminating for the last 3 weeks turns into this giant fart and blows shit and fucking corn and fucking laxative mixed soup and fucking just the most disgusting abomination of a pope that you've ever seen, okay? All over this nasty, disgusting old crowd. And she's just frozen. She stops. She puts down the syringe. Tick, scrape, thunk, puts it down on the table. Tick, scrape, tick, scrape, tick, scrape. Comes around, kind of looks at him, and whispers,
It's people like you that make this job disgusting.
So yeah, that's the story. That's the whole thing. Don't ask me any more about it because that's the end. So whatever you want to play in your own head, that's fun. Go right ahead and do that. I hope you enjoyed this because it was weird to do. I hope I didn't fuck it up too bad. Scott Lamb, thank you so much for that original joke that I'm sure I butchered completely. But again, you are a really funny dude, and I always appreciated you, and I hope you're doing well. The rest of you, I hope you all are doing well. Jonah, hope you enjoy this whenever you get around to watching it and feel better. All right. See you guys later. Goodbye.